Please give a big applause for Jan.
Jan Koum grew up in a rural village outside of Kiev, Ukraine, when it was still part of the Soviet Union. It was a tough time to be Jewish, so the 16-year-old and his mom decided to move to America. They packed suitcases with notebooks so they wouldn't have to pay for supplies when they arrived in Silicon Valley. His father was supposed to join them, but never made it. He fell ill and died a few years later. Koum swept the floor of a grocery store to make ends meet. His mom also got a job, but then she got cancer. They lived off food stamps and her disability payments. She passed away 3 years after his dad died. Such a start in life would be difficult for anyone to overcome, yet overcome he did. As a teen, he taught himself about computer networking by reading books from a used bookstore and returned them to get his money back. He enrolled at San Jose State University, but dropped out when Yahoo offered him a job as an infrastructure engineer. That's also where Brian Acton worked. The two got along really well, and after almost a decade at Yahoo, they quit, took a year off to travel all over South America, and then applied for jobs at Facebook, but got rejected. That didn't deter Koum. He had enough money saved from his time at Yahoo to launch his own venture alongside Acton, a communications app called WhatsApp. The app exploded in popularity, and ironically would go on to be bought by Facebook for $19 billion. Time and time again, immigrants appear to rise to the top despite the roadblocks. Why is that? There's a concept called burning the boats before getting to shore, made famous by Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés. In 1519, he led an expedition of 600 Spaniards aboard 11 ships to Mexico to explore and secure it for colonization. Upon arriving, Cortés decided to destroy the fleet, a way of signaling to his men that there was no turning back. They would either succeed or perish. Within 2 years, Cortés conquered the mighty Aztec Empire. It seems the burning the boats analogy can be applied to immigrants. They're driven to succeed because there's no turning back. And what leads to their billion-dollar idea could very well be the fact that they grew up in another country. Researchers who've studied their success note cross-cultural experience increases the ability to recognize entrepreneurial opportunities. Koum would have never come up with the idea for WhatsApp had he not grown up in the USSR.
I remember my parents not being able to have a conversation on the phone. The walls had ears and you couldn't speak freely. Being shaped by those experiences, it's extremely important to make sure that we provide the level of privacy and security that people would be able to use our product freely and not being afraid.
His is one of many immigrant success stories. More than half of the top Fortune 500 companies were founded by immigrants or the child of an immigrant. Without immigrants, there might very well be no Google. When co-founder Sergey Brin was 6 years old, his family fled anti-Semitism in the former Soviet Union and escaped to America. While studying computer science at Stanford, Brin met fellow student Larry Page. The two developed the Google search engine, which they called Backrub. They almost sold it to the web portal Excite for a mere $750,000. But luckily for the co-founders, the deal never went through, because Google is now worth over $1 trillion. When Page and Brin stepped back from Google and its parent company, Alphabet, they handed the reins to Sundar Pichai, an immigrant from India. He was a bright student in his native country, getting himself into the prestigious Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, where he studied metallurgical engineering. The US then welcomed Pichai with scholarships to pursue a master's degree at Stanford and then an MBA at Wharton. Another reason researchers attribute to the success of Pichai and others like him is that immigration policies in many economically advanced countries favor highly skilled individuals, including those with a college degree. Just 11 years after joining Google, he rose to become CEO. His drive to build and innovate convinced the founders to develop their own browser, Google Chrome. He once told an audience that the following words by American inventor Thomas Edison sums up what it means to be an entrepreneur. "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work." That never give up attitude is also at the center of Eric Yuan's success. He's not a household name, but the company he created is being used in nearly every household. Many of us have been doing our jobs from home during the pandemic thanks to Zoom. Yuan was inspired by a talk Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates gave in Asia in the 90s about the potential of the internet. Yuan wanted in on the dot-com boom and knew he had to leave China and go to America to do it. The problem was the US government denied his visa application. Not once, not twice, not even 3 times. He didn't get the green light, or green card in this case, until his 9th try. He barely spoke English when he arrived, but he did know the language of the internet. He could code, landing an engineering job with WebEx, a video calling software company later bought by Cisco. His salary was reportedly in the high 6 figures, but he wasn't happy. He knew the technology could be better, so he left to form his own company. Today, Yuan is number 43 on the Forbes list of the 400 wealthiest people in America. There also happens to be 43 immigrants on this list. Holding the top spot is Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. Bezos may have been born in the US, but his father is Miguel Bezos, a refugee who's not his biological dad, but raised him as his own. He fled the Castro regime in Cuba when he was 16 years old.
He was all by himself. I have a hard time even imagining that.
He was a member of Operation Peter Pan, a rescue program for children run by the Catholic Church and heavily funded by the American government. Miguel's mother thought the US would be really cold compared to tropical Cuba, so she made him a heavy jacket from cleaning cloths, the only material she could get her hands on. It's now framed in his house. When he landed in America, he couldn't speak any English, but figured it out. He got a scholarship to a university in New Mexico and also took a job at a bank for extra cash, where he met Jeff's mom, Jackie. Jeff Bezos has spoken proudly of his father and how much he inspired him because of his determination, optimism, and grit. That mindset helped the young Bezos guide Amazon through the turbulent dot-com bubble when many other tech companies folded, and led him to take risks, like offering free shipping to entice customers, even though the math didn't make sense. Such strategies helped grow Amazon into the behemoth it is today. Psychologist Angela Duckworth is well known for her research on the factors that predict success. She says the key to success, the single most important factor, is how gritty you are, writing in her book on the topic, "Enthusiasm is common, endurance is rare." Someone who knows a thing or two about enduring is Elon Musk, who emigrated from South Africa to the US by way of Canada, where he spent a couple of years as an undergrad. When asked by CBS's 60 Minutes whether he considered packing it in after SpaceX's third launch failed, he responded, "I never give up. I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated." Thankfully, he didn't give up, because the fourth flight was a success.
We have liftoff. Stage separation confirmed.
One day, that grit may see Musk arriving on the doorstep of Mars. Many who venture to a new country are resilient, but it's certainly not the only factor that determines success. They also have the technical knowledge to back up their ambitions. A problem-solving website and app called Brilliant can help put you on the path to success, and it's free to sign up. I've been working my way through the Logic course, which provides a solid foundation for their math courses. Whether you like to brush up on calculus, practice programming, or learn the fundamentals of computer science, Brilliant is great for both beginners and those looking for a refresher. There are no tests, and if you're stuck on a problem, Brilliant explains how to get the right answer. To sign up, head to brilliant.org/newsthink. The link is in my description. And the first 200 people to use my link will get 20% off the premium subscription, which allows you to access all courses. Thanks for watching Newsthink. I'm Cindy Palm.